I have partnered up with Alois to make some champion-specific guides for the Summoner School website. I tried to put a ton of information in every single one of these guides. Currently, I've made 3 champion guides for the Summoner School website. I have made a Garen guide, a Warwick guide, and a Mordekaiser guide. In these guides, you will find stuff like explaining all the runes, the items, matchups, and so on. And on top of every single video that the guide provides, there is also a matchup spreadsheet for every single one of these guides. If you wish to check out one of these guides, the link to the website will be in the video description. Now, with this introduction out of the way, please enjoy this video.
Squabbling tribes are weak. I am not.
Most likely all Malphite will do in this entire lane is just spam Q on you to poke you down, and you can use your W to block most of his Qs, but not all of them. And this is simply because his Q cooldown is lower than your W cooldown. But being able to block a couple of Qs, especially in the early game, is really good because he will run out of mana quickly. You can also purchase an early no magic mantle if you want, and then his Q poke won't really matter. And another thing you can do is rush Giant's Belt first, because you're going to go Rylai's Crystal Scepter, so instead of greeding for more damage by purchasing a Blasting Wand or Amp Tome, you just get the Giant's Belt. That way you have Giant's Belt plus no magic mantle, so his poke does basically nothing into you. And then the moment you get Rylai, the lane is over anyway because he can never escape you. One interaction that is worth noting here is that his ultimate can cancel yours, but only while he's flying in the air. Once that animation is done, then you can ulti him. This is good to keep in mind, but most Malphite players don't know about this interaction, so it's most likely not going to happen. You can also perma-freeze on your side of the lane after you get Rylai, and then he can't farm up. He might be able to get the experience, but not the gold. And if you actually manage to pull him in and ulti him, he dies, or he's forced to ulti away. You can even pull him in, proc your Rylai, stick to him, and then he's forced to ulti away anyway, and then you save your ult. And then the second time he walks up, you ulti him and kill him. And even though I died one time in the early game because Malphite flashed my Q, I'm still totally fine in this lane. It's not like this will break my lane by itself. After this trade on Malphite, what I want to do is push the wave in and then go behind his tower and hold his minions there. That way my following wave will crash into his tower, and then it's going to be perma-frozen on my side of the lane and he can never do anything. Because the moment he walks up, I proc my Rylai and he dies. In this situation, what ends up happening is that I have to stop my plan because there's a fight at Grubs and I go there.
Slain. An been slain. A summoner has disconnected. Victory!
Those who cannot keep up will be left behind.
This game I thought Garen and Kayle might swap, so I took my setup that I normally take into Kayle. This is why I have Flash Ghost and I do not have Inspiration secondary. Instead, it ended up being Garen top, but I'm still fine with it. It just means I'm not going to rush Rylai like I normally do because I do not have that approach velocity. You can do it still, it's just not as powerful. And because of that, I could go for another item like Cosmic Drive or Hextech Rocket Belt, maybe a Rift Maker or Liandry or Bloodletter's Curse. Because I do not have Ignite, it means my 1v1 in melee range is weaker, and I can also use the movement speed from Ghost to space him out when he spins so I don't take that spin damage. I will have a lot of ability haste just from my runes, which is great because it means I can Q a lot more. So because of this, what I can do is purchase something like Cosmic Drive to get even more haste, or I can go for something like Liandry and permapoke Garen. Liandry specifically is really good against Garen because it has that burn, which means that it will take longer for his passive to come back up so he can heal up. And because you are constantly poking him down with your Q, or try to, it's gonna be really hard for him to sustain through his passive. I can keep him permanently under his own tower and I can just Q poke him. If I had Inspiration secondary and I rushed Rylai's, I would just look to perma-freeze on my side of the lane. But because I do not have that setup, instead I'm looking to just perma-poke him under the tower. There's also a chance Garen looks to perma-proxy, but because he will be stuck under his own tower, he can't do it without losing a bunch of CS. The only way he can realistically get into a proxy position is if he drops the waves. And that way he can go behind and proxy, but that means he will drop 1 or 2 waves to do that. You also have to look at what Keystone Garen has. If he has Conquer, he wants to duel you more in melee range. If he has Storm Raider Surge, he wants to go for short trades. With Conqueror specifically, he has some pretty good dueling power, so respect it. But once you get your ultimate and you get your first legendary item, you should always win the 1v1 basically. I'm pretty sure if I played this better I could have killed every single one of them and perhaps lived. Luckily Silas came in to clean up the graves in the Nami.
Shut down.
When I flashed on top of Ezreal, you could see the fact that I did 2 quick auto attacks on him. And the reason I was able to do this is because activating Hextech Rocket Belt resets your auto attack timer. So I did Q flash into an auto, then used my Rocket Belt to dash into him and deal damage, which also reset my auto attack timer, which then allowed me to do another auto attack afterwards and kill him. For the first 7 levels or so, this is going to be the POV of the gameplay, and afterwards it will go back to the regular one. This matchup is super boring because Gragas has a lot of sustain from his passive, and he can make it super difficult for you to kill him. And this is because he has a lot of safety with his W damage reduction, Q slow, body slam knockback plus stun, and his ultimate knockback. All of these things make it very difficult for you to actually kill the Gragas. You can try to, it's just very difficult and it's gonna take a long time. Your best bet is to just constantly Q poke him at max range until he eventually dies. You can also go for Mercury Treads in this lane because it will actually reduce his E stun duration. His E has a knockback and a stun attached to it. So because of this, you can take Mercs and reduce that stun, which feels pretty good. This is also why I like to take the Tenacity and Slow Resist shard into Gragas, though you don't need to do it just for him. If it's just for him, it's better to take just Mercs if you really want to. Your first legendary item can be something like Cosmic Drive or Hextech Rocket Belt, maybe even a Spirit Visage if you want to play it super super defensively, though most of the time it's going to be a Cosmic Drive or Hextech Rocket build. And then afterwards you can take something like a Spirit Visage, Dusk and Dawn, Zhonya's, whatever else. You can also take an Oblivion Orb in this lane if you want to, because it will cut out his passive healing. Though the thing is, if you don't have that heal cut on him when he uses his passive, then it won't matter. And he only gets to heal when he uses an ability, so unless his passive comes off cooldown in the middle of a trade, he won't be affected by the heal cut, though it can still be good to take, especially if they have other healing sources like how in this game they have a Briar. And if you see that the Gragas has Storm Raider Surge, then it's going to be even harder to actually stick to him. If you want to though, what you can do against the Gragas with Storm Raider Surge is take some early magic resist and a lot of health. That way when he goes to combo you, he will never be able to proc that Storm Raider unless he buys a Void Staff, because you will have too much health and too much magic resist. Though it's not exactly needed because his poke isn't really an issue if you play it correctly.
Slain.
Thank you guys for joining me in this video. I hope you found the information useful, and I will see you in the next video, hopefully very soon.
I am favored by the gods and awaited in the Hall of Bones.